Okay, so before we start the character rig itself, during the creation of the character rig, I'd like to utilize a couple of tools that we put together back in the technical rigging series. Those were the FK controls tool that was built in technical rigging 1, the basic IK tool that was built in technical rigging 3, and the stretchy IK tool that was built in technical rigging 4. Now, for those of you that did follow along with those products, you'll have those 3 tools to hand. If you did not, then you're going to need to install a script that we're providing on this DVD, and then we're going to turn around, we're going to set up a shelf with some new tools to call on the functionality in that script. So let's jump over to a folder where I have the character rigging 1.pyc, that is the compiled Python file. If we copy this with Control C and then jump over to our Houdini build. Now I'm using Houdini 9.5.230, so this is the install for Houdini, and inside our install folder I want to jump inside the Houdini folder, then inside the scripts folder, then down inside the Python folder, and I want to paste Control V that character rigging 1.pyc. With that pasted in, that is going to be installed for this current build of Houdini. I can now jump over into Houdini and get a shelf set up where we can call on that script, call on the functionality in that script, and get some tools working with the functionality in that script. So I'm going to turn around and click on the plus to create a brand new shelf, and let's call this shelf something like character rigging tools, and give it a label of character rigging. And if we accept that, we'll see that we now have a character rigging shelf. We can right click on that shelf and I can create a new tool, and this first tool I want to set up will be our FK controls tool, which I'll give a label of FK controls, and let's give this an icon of obj underscore null. That will give me a null icon. Since we use nulls for our FK controls, this will make most logical sense for an icon to have up here. If we apply that, we can see that we do indeed have a null as our icon. I'm going to jump over to the script tab, and we're going to enter a couple of lines of script. The first thing we need to do is import that file, import that module that we just installed for this Houdini build. So to do that, we're going to import character rigging 1. Once we have that module imported, we can call on functionality inside that module. The functionality I want to call on will be character rigging 1, specifying the module, dot, what functionality, FK controls underscore tool, open and close parentheses. This is going to call on the FK controls underscore tool function that is defined in the character rigging 1 module. If we accept that, we can now jump over to the character tab and test out our tools. So I'm going to create just a simple 2-bone bone chain. So I'm just going to draw out a couple of bones, jump back to our character rigging tab, and select our FK controls tool. Let's grab chain bone 1, enter to confirm, then chain bone 2, enter to confirm. We can see that indeed our FK controls have been created, and we can grab our FK controls. Let's grab both of these guys, boost up their geometry scale, and let's just test out that this is indeed working. So I'm going to grab this guy. There we go. So as we rotate him, the bone's coming along for the ride. Fantastic. And then if we rotate this guy, we can see that the bone is coming along for the ride. So I'm going to grab all of our nodes with Control A, then delete to remove them, space H to home up our view. Let's escape to deactivate and jump over to the view tool. So that's our FK controls tool set up. Let's now set up our basic IK. So I'm going to right click, create a new tool. Let's give this the name of basic IK and the label of basic IK. I want the icon to be obj underscore state underscore bones. That's going to give us, if we apply, a bone chain type icon, which is perfect since we are setting up basic IK on a bone chain. So let's jump over to the script tab, and I'm going to import character rigging 1. Again, it exists inside that module, and let's grab character rigging 1 dot basic IK underscore tool. So that's going to be the basic IK underscore tool function that exists inside the character rigging 1 module. If we accept that, let's first set up a 2-bone bone chain. It could be a multiple bone chain. In this case, I want to test it with just 2 bones. And they are going to not have inverse kinematics. We can then turn around and apply inverse kinematics to that bone chain using our basic IK tool. So I'm going to jump over to the character tab. Let's activate the bones tool and draw out 2 bones. Then if we jump back to our character rigging tab, activate the basic IK tool, it's going to ask us to select a start bone, just like our FK controls. So we can grab our start bone and push enter. It will then ask us to grab an end bone, so we can grab our end bone and push enter. And what that's going to do is going to set up inverse kinematics, just very basic inverse kinematics on that bone chain. It acts as an alternate to creating inverse kinematics when we create the bone chain. If we create a bone chain and then at a later time want to set up inverse kinematics on that bone chain, we now have the option using the basic IK tool. So that's our second tool. Again, I'm going to Control A to grab everything, delete to remove that space, H to home up the view, and escape to grab our view tool. The final tool I want to set up will be our stretchy IK tool. So I'm going to right click once more, come down to new tool, and I'm going to give this tool a name of stretchy IK and the label of stretchy IK. And let's give this an icon as well of obj underscore state underscore bone. So we'll give that a bone chain icon also. Jump over to the script tab. I'm going to go ahead and import character rigging 1. And from inside that module, I want to call on the stretchy IK underscore tool function. So with that, if we accept this, again, we can turn around and let's create another bone chain. I'm just going to create a 2-bone bone chain. Enter to accept that. If we jump back over to our character rigging tab, activate the stretchy IK tool. Again, it's going to ask us to select a start bone. So we can grab our start bone, enter to confirm. It will then ask us to select an end bone. So I'm going to grab our end bone, enter to confirm. You'll notice we've got IK set up. If we grab our end effector and we start moving him around, it looks like we have just standard IK, but in fact, we have stretchy IK. When we move past the limits of our initial IK chain, our bones are going to stretch to reach from the start all the way to our end effector. So we have stretchy IK in place as well. So with that, that's going to conclude setting up 3 tools that are going to be incredibly useful to us in setting up our character rig. That's going to conclude this video. Thanks a lot.